Canopy Growth is up about 18% today because Constellation Brands have agreed to take a 9.9% stake in Canopy Growth. So this is the original article that came out about a day ago, and Constellation Brands, which is the parent company of Corona Beer, a pretty well-known company or a pretty well-known brand, they've agreed to take a 9.9% stake in Canopy Growth at a total of $191 million or $245 million Canadian. So this is a pretty big deal because this is one of the first times that a giant beer company has decided to actively take a stake in one of the marijuana companies, one of the Canadian marijuana companies. And this is really, really good because it does put more pressure on their competitors to do the same, but it also legitimizes the industry. I think that more people will take the industry like much more seriously because if they already hadn't. But yeah, this is good. So I've been saying for quite a while that if events were to transpire in the marijuana industry, that Canopy Growth would be the first one to feel the effects of those events. So in other words, if a giant beer company decided to invest into the marijuana industry, Canopy Growth would probably be the prime candidate for that investment because it is the biggest company, it does have the most reputable brands, it does have the infrastructure available, and it only makes sense that this actually happened, or that Canopy Growth was the first one to get this to happen to them. And despite Canopy Growth being the biggest, they're still only worth $2.5 billion right now, whereas Constellation Brands, they're worth almost $42 billion right now. So $42 billion, and they make about $400 to $500 million of profit per quarter. So they're only investing about half of a quarter's worth of revenue into Canopy Growth. So they're only really taking a baby step in terms of investing into one of these companies, and they're putting down a little bit of money. Well, it's a little bit of money for them. So they're only putting their foot into the door and they're not really actually committing. But by doing this, what they're essentially saying is that the marijuana industry is legitimate and that it is going to be posing threats to their revenue because marijuana is going to be competing directly with beer and alcohol and tobacco as well. So what this company essentially did is they're going to minimize the risk of losing out on revenue due to marijuana by investing a little bit into a company like Canopy Growth. And of course, they did get options to be able to buy more stock in the future, so they might get an even bigger stake into this company in the future. And this is going to cause their competitors to do the same, and I think that the next companies on the list to potentially get parts of them bought out by giant beer companies or giant tobacco companies are going to be Aphria and Aurora. So if you're looking to invest into these companies, I think that you probably missed the boat on Canopy Growth, at least for now. And if you actually want to throw some money into these companies, I think that Aphria and Aurora are going to be the next two candidates to get investments into them. So these two are probably going to be the ones that are going to get investments over the next few months by potentially another giant beer company or a giant tobacco company. And I think that, by the way, I think that this event is only the beginning of this sorts of stuff happening. I think there's going to be a lot more of this. And yeah, as I've said, these two companies are going to be the next candidates on the list. So yeah, this is really good news. I don't really know how else to put it. This is just really good news in general. And another effect of this sorts of stuff, another effect that's going to undertake, or take place at least, is it did say in this article, I don't know where, but it did say in the article that this company is currently not interested in lobbying the US government to actually pass marijuana legalization. But as more and more of these companies actually invest into marijuana and start obtaining stakes of marijuana companies, they're going to have a bigger interest in actually getting marijuana legalization to take place in the United States. And if if a lot of these companies invest into marijuana, at a certain point, they might come together and they might pool a bunch of money and lobby the US government to actually decriminalize marijuana and also legalize it eventually. And once that actually happens, these stocks are going to go up even more. That will take a few years to pass, but I think that that is a very likely scenario to actually happen, that as more and more of these companies start taking an interest in the marijuana industry, they will have an active interest in actually lobbying the US government to pass marijuana legalization. And I think that once that interest actually comes into place, it's not going to take very long before it actually happens. So that's what I think. So I don't really know what to say other than the fact that this is very good news, and other than the fact that it opens up a lot of potential for the future. I think that over the next probably 8 months or so, you're going to be seeing a lot more of this happening. And you're going to be seeing a lot more individuals coming into this industry, a lot more institutional investors coming into this industry, because This sort of move does legitimize or legitimize. I don't. It does make the industry more legit to the people who didn't see it as very legit, so that's good. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. This is, of course, very, very good news, as I've already said probably like 5 times. But let me know what you think. I will be covering more of these events in the future. Hopefully, I did a good job of talking about this. But yeah, let me know.